Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. Anthony Mackie wound up in a world of trouble as he was looking to promote his new Marvel Cinematic Universe film, Captain America Brave New World. Now, Anthony Mackie, as he was at an event promoting Captain America Brave New World, which is set to open in basically 16 days on February 14th, it made the statement about Captain America and his representation of America that alienated many comic fans and many moviegoers and fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, this statement by Anthony Mackie was one where he said that Captain America represents a lot of different things, and he says that he doesn't think the term America should be one of those representations, and that statement went out here and alienated many people online as this video of him making the statement went viral. Now, this whole statement that Anthony Mackie has made about Captain America not representing America actually is something that was featured in many Captain America comics when it was said by Steve Rogers, who himself says that he doesn't represent America but represents the American dream. However, the optics of this statement and the timing of this statement were ones that I believe weren't very smart for Anthony Mackie to make. Now, when it comes to Captain America in and of himself, many Americans in and of themselves really don't like the idea of the character of Sam Wilson being Captain America, and Anthony Mackie playing the role of Sam Wilson, who inherited the role of Captain America after Steve Rogers wound up stopping being the hero at the end of Avengers Endgame, when he decided to go back in time to be with Peggy Carter and then returned in the present to give Sam Wilson the shield. This has led to a sour taste in many comic fans' mouths regarding the Captain America character, and basically has led to a lot of people who were fans of Captain America not being happy about this decision, because when it comes to Sam Wilson, he was not really the best choice for many as related to him inheriting the mantle, with the character of Bucky Barnes, also known as the Winter Soldier, still being alive. And with Bucky Barnes still being alive, many people wanted to see Bucky Barnes or James Buchanan Barnes take over the role of Captain America, and felt that Sam Wilson was given the role basically because Marvel Studios was caught up in a whole agenda of social justice that basically wound up derailing Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the only reason why Sam Wilson was given the role of Captain America was because he was a black man, not because he was a person who had the super soldier serum or be given the super soldier serum to enhance his abilities. Now, to compensate for his lack of superpowers over the course of the series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they wanted to give Sam Wilson a advantage to be Captain America in addition to the shield, and what they did was go out here and give him a battle suit made by Wakandan technology. Unfortunately, many comic fans still see that as a cop-out, and many comic fans see that as a cop-out because when it comes to Sam Wilson doesn't really have the same mission as Steve Rogers as related to serving his country. Moreover, when it comes to Sam Wilson, more people see him as the Falcon and see the Falcon as him being his own distinct hero. And when they see Sam Wilson in the role of Captain America, many people see it as a downgrade because you have a black man basically wearing another hero's hand-me-down costume instead of going out here and having his own mission and direction as a hero. And this has basically laid the foundation for a lot of people who were fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and comic fans not really looking to go out here and support this Sam Wilson as Captain America, or be excited about the upcoming Captain America Brave New World, which has basically been retitled from Captain America New World Order, And many people basically were not really interested in this film. They weren't really interested in this film of Captain America Brave New World because of all of the bad buzz as related to Avengers Endgame and the weak build into Falcon and Winter Soldier, not to mention the film in and of itself going through development hell as related to things, because this film, Captain America Brave New World, is the second most expensive film for Disney outside of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which went on to become one of the biggest flops of the year at the box office. And everything with Captain America Brave New World has that film basically on a road to possibly being one of the biggest box office bombs of 2025 and possibly the fourth box office flop for Marvel Studios, behind films like what was it? I'm trying to figure out the Marvels, films like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and films that just basically underperform, like Thor: Love and Thunder, and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. When it came to those films, we are seeing a serious decline as related to Marvel Studios' performance at the box office compared to what these films used to do back in the prime of 2008 to 2012, where white male leads were in charge as related to Robert Downey Jr. being Iron Man, Chris Hemsworth being Thor, and at the time Edward Norton being the Incredible Hulk, and Chris Evans as Captain America. When white males were basically leading in these films, they basically had incredible box office. However, as Marvel Studios went into Phase 4, Kevin Feige decided not to adapt many more classic Marvel stories, but decided to start adapting the all-new, all-different Marvel as they started to transition from films to making TV shows like Disney Plus, shows like WandaVision, and many other shows, and this basically led to a serious decline, starting with the film Eternals. And as we went from Eternals to Shang-Chi to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Multiverse of Madness, we saw a box office decline, which eventually led to the first box office flop, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and then we saw box office underperformance with Thor: Love and Thunder, and box office flops like the Marvels, and many fear that Captain America Brave New World may be the biggest flop as related to things, because the film basically went through development hell, now cost over $375 million, has been reshot multiple times to the point where the film has been reshot to the point where they've made possibly 2 to 3 films, where footage from guys like Seth Rollins has been cut out and not been used. And this has basically led to many people speculating that this film might be one of the biggest box office failures of 2025. And Anthony Mackie's statements in and of themselves wound up destroying the overall optics of a movie that already has a rickety fan base and a rickety audience. I mean, this statement by Anthony Mackie was not really smart. And yes, it did fit into the overall mission of what Captain America was representing during the Bronze Age of comics, because Steve Rogers has said in the past that he basically is a representation of the ideals of America and not the nation in and of himself. I have heard him say this in comics in the past, like Captain America No More, the Captain, and this was one of the reasons why he surrendered the costume, because he wanted to represent the ideals of America and the freedom of America. And this is why he put on the black costume as the Captain, because he wanted to continue representing those ideals without being told what to do by the Commission. This was written by the late Mark Grunwald, and Captain America has always been about representing those ideals, but the whole thing with Sam Wilson and Anthony Mackie is that they don't understand that America basically is a white supremacist nation, and the thing is that when it comes to a black man, he cannot go out here and say that things like a white man. And what happens here with Anthony Mackie is he made the mistake of violating the unwritten social rule of thinking that a black man has the same freedoms in America that a white man has. And hearing a black man say this statement that has been said in multiple Captain America comics, this is what upset many of the white males as related to fandom. And this is the main reason why many of the white males in fandom are extremely upset, because they already had a negative perception of Sam Wilson as Captain America, because I believe, one, it's a guy who isn't a super soldier. Two, it's mainly because he's a black man, and again, a black man is in the role of a white man wearing a white man's hand-me-down costume, and for that black man to go out here and think he can have the freedom of speech to say what a white man says, this is the thing that has many of the white fans in fandom extremely upset. It has many of the white fans in fandom extremely upset to hear a black man have the audacity to believe that he can go out here and speak against America. And that's what's got most of the white fans in fandom extremely upset. And it really shows me, again, the racism as related to fandom, as related to black and white. And that's one of the main reasons why Sam Wilson hasn't really worked well as Captain America, because when it comes to fandom, fandom basically is filled with a lot of white supremacists. And again, the white supremacists want to have their own heroes. And since they want to have their own heroes, this black comic fan basically says that, let them have their own heroes, because we can do better than a hand-me-down character in a hand-me-down costume. We can do better than a hand-me-down character who's wearing somebody else's costume that they farted in. And we can do better than being a part of somebody else's franchise in a costume that doesn't fit us. No, we can do better, black people, than going out here and trying to fit ourselves into somebody else's box that will try, as a covert contract, to try to gain acceptance from white people, because that's basically what the Sam Wilson Captain America is all about. Because when it came to many of these comic companies participate in a passive-aggressive campaign, like the all-new, all-different Marvel, talking about how on the surface they want diversity and inclusion, but the great irony is that when it comes to behind the scenes, they're not looking to come to black creators like myself and look to include us as part of the business of creating comics. No, when it comes to many of these companies, what they do is, again, passively go out here and put a guy like Sam Wilson in a Captain America costume and have an actor like Anthony Mackie play the role. But aggressively, they are hoping behind the scenes that this will fail, and hope it will fail, and they can use that as an excuse to never go out here and hire another black actor to play a hero, or go out here and have another black character in a lead role. That's what many of these people behind the scenes in fandom and the comic book industry and the entertainment business really want. They want to go out here and participate in this subtle anti-black racism where you don't see the subtle politics transpiring around you. And since you don't see the subtle politics transpiring around you, you can't see how they are basically participating in an anti-black agenda and hoping that it will fail, and use this as an excuse to keep many original creators like myself from being able to get our characters to the marketplace. And what they will do is, when you propose a new original black character, talk about how things wound up failing with projects like Captain America Brave New World, or projects like Black Panther Wakanda Forever, when in actuality they were doing things behind the scenes to sabotage those projects, because many of those in spaces of the entertainment industry and fandom don't want you to see black people in these type of roles. And again, they got upset because they saw the success of Black Panther, which went on to become the #1 movie of 2018. And once it became the #1 movie of 2018 and was a box office blockbuster, again, #1 movie of that year, went on to gross over $1 billion, did better than even some MCU movies like Incredible Hulk and Thor did, and went out here and sold out all of its Hasbro merchandise like Marvel Legends. What they don't want to see is a black hero elevated to that level. And I saw that back as far back as 2001 to 2004 with Static Shock, when Static was the #1 show on television. Again, no action figures, no merchandise at all. Even with McFarlane Toys, we still don't have a Static Shock figure, but we get all these other figures from animated shows like Superman and Batman, but we don't have a Static Shock. And again, that is by design, because when it comes to the entertainment industry and the comic book industry, they are very anti-black. And again, they won't talk about that side of the story. I mean, you'll see many of the YouTubers out here, they'll sit there and talk about, oh, this statement was anti-American, but the whole thing is that when it comes to Captain America, it's okay for the white Steve Rogers to say this in the comic. It's okay for Chris Evans to say something similar in Captain America Civil War. It's okay for the white guy to say things. And again, that's the white supremacy that goes on with the comic book industry, with the entertainment industry. The black man can't really say anything. And again, it's not about him being proud to be speaking against America. It's about this black man thinking he has the audacity to have the same rights as any other American. And that's what's got many people upset. And many people upset about this film, which isn't really a great film in and of itself, because the film's, again, in a place where it's on the road to being a box office disaster. It's on the road to being a box office disaster because it basically was in development hell and basically written 3 times and shot 3 or 4 times, and is still being shot and edited. I mean, Captain America Brave New World is a classic case of what happens when a movie studio really has lost its direction, lost its focus, and we saw that decline start at the beginning of Phase 4 after Captain America Civil War. And basically, as I see it, the Marvel Cinematic Universe should have ended in 2019, and basically is going to end the way many American film franchises end, with diminishing returns, because with many cinematic films, they wind up ending on diminishing returns, because what happens is studio executives start to get involved in the creative process. Studio executives start meddling in the process, start putting in their ideas for characters and walking away from the source material. And I saw that as far back as Spider-Man Homecoming, which didn't really feel like a Spider-Man movie the way Raimi's Spider-Man did. I mean, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man felt like a Spider-Man movie straight out of a Marvel comic, but Spider-Man Homecoming to me felt like garbage, and it just didn't feel like a Spider-Man movie at all. And Marvel Studios has been deviating from the source material, and that's why many of their films are poor, in addition to adapting poor quality concepts like the all-new, all-different Marvel, which focus mostly on Sam Wilson being a black guy in a Captain America suit, instead of the struggles of trying to maintain the legacy of his best friend, Steve Rogers, the same way John Walker did during the legendary Mark Gruenwald story, Captain America No More, the Captain, because in that story, John Walker, while he had his issues with Steve Rogers, started to understand the struggles of maintaining those ideals, and as he became the crazed Cap, he basically showed that you couldn't use a 1980s approach to just shoot to kill and beat up people as the role for Captain America. No, you had to go out here and understand the values of Captain America, and that's one of the reasons why Brave New World is going to be in a world of hurt at the box office and be the biggest loss as things. Now, this film is opening on Valentine's Day as part of Black History Month, but I think this film will go down in history in an ignominious fashion, similar to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And once this film fails, we may see Kevin Feige out of a job and many other people out of a job, because you can't really continue to maintain the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the state that it's in, because this whole universe is off the rails, because it's not really focused on heroes being heroes. It's more focused on identity politics and social justice. And sadly, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is so far off track that I believe the only way to get it back on track is with a new person in charge, and a new person in charge who basically could sit down with many of the actors like Anthony Mackie and teach him, there are things you say during a PR thing, and again, one of the things you don't want to say during a PR event for a movie about Captain America is to speak against Captain America, because that runs against the optics of your brand. It runs against what your brand is looking like. I mean, what's it look like when you have Captain America speaking against America during a promotion for the film that doesn't incentivize people to go see the movie? Now, Anthony Mackie walked back his statement, but it's too little too late. This film was basically damaged from minute one, and his statement basically puts the final nail in the coffin to a film that I believe will possibly be one of the biggest flops of 2025. And at this point, we have to admit that the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as it enters into phase 6, doomsday is coming for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's not with Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom. It's with Captain America's Brave New World, showing us that it's possibly the end of the world for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, if you want to check out my books that feature black characters in an entire universe where black people are the center of the world, you can check out the books of the SJS Direct universe, such as the books in the ISIS series, the books in the Steam series, the books in the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, and my vampire novel Eternal Night, my black business novel Recipe for Success. You can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to check out my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, you can get a paper copy of that comic on Lulu.com by clicking the link in the description box, and you can get that paper copy for the same price as the 2022 Kickstarter. And if you want to check out my first digital comic, A Steam No Good Deed, you can find that copy on Kindle for 99 cents, or you can find it in the Steam series book, A Steam Blast from the Past. And if you want to see me make more videos taking the entertainment industry and superhero movies to the barbecue, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.